happy Groundhog's Day. Happy birthday, Georgia Lair, wherever you are. And welcome to the February 2nd meeting of the Yarmouth Energy Committee. Is there a motion to meet remotely?
I'll make a motion to meet remotely.
Second,
Okay, do we have a second?
second,
There we go.
Yes, Steve.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay, I guess it passes. The first item up on our agenda is the approval of outstanding minutes. Madam Secretary?
There were just a few things that I was asked to correct, which I did, so I believe that they're fine.
Okay, can I have a motion about the minutes?
I'll make a
Oh,
motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Yep, okay, it carries. Now we move to a thing that's special to this week, which is the conflict of interest training certificates, and are all having read the open meeting law. Are there any questions about any of that?
I didn't have any link to read the open meeting law.
Oh,
I was able to print it from the material you sent.
From
okay.
me?
That was from Maryland, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's, I think, isn't that the conflict of interest certificate?
a conflict of interest, yes. Oh, did you go to open meeting law?
Yeah,
No,
I
I-
was just,
Yeah, on open meeting law, I have a call into the Attorney General's office of all places, but the certificate at the end doesn't allow you to, let's say, sign and send it electronically. So, and then I went to another, did a couple of searches, and it just sent me back to the certificate that has to be physically signed and delivered.
well, I had trouble sending it, and then I did it as a screenshot, and that worked.
Oh, you're talking about conflict of interest,
Right,
right? Yeah, I got yours.
okay.
Thank you.
But I didn't see any place to read the open meeting or whatever.
oh, we got that
Yeah,
a couple months ago as a little PDF. Let me just resend that to you. And I'm using the computer, but I'll resend it to you as soon as we're off.
Okay.
It's a little booklet in the form of a PDF. And if you are at the town clerk's office, as Barry was as a new appointee, you get a shiny version of that. But the rest of us just get PDFs or get to look it up online. So I'll send you the PDF again so you all have it.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sorry about the last minute flurry with the open meeting law stuff. I hadn't realized that Steve took ill. He was going to send us a link on that. And Steve, I hope you're feeling better. I know these things take time, but figure that I'll go after Regina Wood because she just heard about it over the weekend, and it takes her a little while to do stuff because everybody just got reminded by me. But it looks like we're almost all set, right, Steve?
yes. Yeah, I was just looking through open meeting law, but it's through the state mass.gov that you find that open meeting law training. In fact, I'll just hold it up here. There's at least the front page of the document.
Mhm.
Okay, but then you go to the certificate in the back, and it, as I say, you can't print it. It's just a physical certificate. It's not a certificate you can fill in and email it.
So we have to read the PDF on screen and then print out the last page.
Yeah, as I say, I have a call in and they're kind of slow in responding to the Attorney General's office. He's
You're not working in the office.
they're not working in the office, they're working remotely. And that apparently they have, more important things to address. So I'll continue to badger them.
Okay, but in the meantime, now Marilyn came up with a solution, do a screenshot. I assume one could also just save it as a temporary file, and saving it, name it, and then send it along to Steve as an attachment.
Yeah, I think what you'd have to do is print it out.
You have to carve off that last page before you do it. Yeah.
The last page, then fill it in, physically fill it in.
Oh, physically fill it in.
I
Okay.
believe, unless you
And then-
can electronically fill it in. And then maybe scan it in and send it over. Or you can snail mail it to me.
Okay. So if everybody could do that within the next week, like say by this weekend, that would be a big help and we'd get the stuff to town hall. Okay. Steve, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I think the open meeting law, I'm just looking through here, but I believe it's, I'll come back to it. Why don't you continue on and then I'll come back to it here.
Okay. Moving on, the Cape Light Compact update. The first meeting of Cape Light Compact is going to be a week from tomorrow, the first board meeting, February 10th, 2 to 4:30 on Zoom. And the one piece of big news we have is that they're relaunching the Main Streets program. And I've signed Yarmouth up for that. Main Streets program is a sort of blitz of energy audits and energy efficiency freebies that they do in a commercial district, all within, say, a week's time. And they have the trucks pull up with the big signs on them, and they go from store to store or restaurant to restaurant, depending on what you have on your main street. And obviously this is ideally suited for maybe downtown Falmouth or downtown Provincetown or Chatham. And so Yarmouth has never been able to take advantage of that. But this year, they're willing to take everybody. So I signed us up, and we'll just sort it out with Yarmouth Community Development people, whether they want to consider it 3 mini main streets, 6A, and then Route 28 and Old Main in South Yarmouth, and then Main Street, Route 28 in West Yarmouth. But some Yarmouth businesses should be able to get some good things out of that. And that's all the news from the compact.
Let's see, Joyce, did you mention White's Path?
Oh, I guess we could consider, good thought, we could consider White's Path as a main street. It's a main industrial street.
A lot of businesses, yes.
Yeah.
Including the compact. How did we not look at that?
Right, the compact is.
Okay.
And technically CVEC is as well.
Yes, they are.
And it's in our interest to have Maggie and Liz as comfortable as possible in conditioned space so that they'll be productive. Okay. Steve, over to you with the CVEC report.
Yeah, CVEC report, basically the one thing I wanted to mention was that Liz is on vacation. I think everybody had gotten the email to that effect. So she'll be on vacation through the 15th of the month. And Tatiana Nicoletto is the person to contact in her absence. Maria Marasco is there also. But her email asks that we go through Tatiana.
Okay. And you've got her Tatiana's email from the different emails about the All Energy Committee meetings. And
Yeah.
last name is Nicanello, Nicanello.
A well-known Yarmouth name.
That's,
Indeed, indeed.
Can you repeat that spelling again, please?
Sure. Nicanello.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've got brother or uncle living across the street from me.
Is that Tom or?
Lou, the policeman.
Oh, Lou. Okay. Okay, Steve, was there anything to add for CVEC?
well, I guess one of the things independently, and it's a civic interest also, but I've been looking at fire issues relative to batteries, both in cars and in the Powerwall installations. This information can be found online. And I also, there was an online training program by a fire chief, retired fire chief from Las Vegas. But just, one major point that they pointed out, he pointed out, and they point out in the Tesla information is that you have to give or, address it with lots of water. For example, if you believe you have a problem with a Tesla car, they talk about 3,000 gallons of water to deal with the heat dissipation, the energy dissipation from the batteries. So that's what you're fighting in a lot of cases. It's just the chemical reaction, if you will, the release of energy from the batteries. 3,000 gallons in to extinguish a car fire or car incident is quite,
That's a swimming pool.
that's what it is. And they said the standard fire extinguisher doesn't cool like the water would. So they don't, except in an absolute emergency, they don't recognize or endorse using just the fire extinguisher. And
Okay.
the batteries, for example, a Powerwall battery, it could have a failure in the battery, and there's cells in there, and it's talked about as being individual cells, and they're protected. That the problem normally or usually doesn't propagate from cell to cell. But the other situation where you would have a problem with the battery, within the battery, the other issue would be if you have a battery and then let's say the house or the fire, the garage catches fire, you have an external source of heat that's damaging the battery. But in both cases, they advise shut off all other connections. They talk about standing back 20 feet and using a water spray to cool the battery down.
Were you
Well,
looking in connection with your Prius or?
Yeah, with your, I guess, the battery in the Prius, but they were talking about a Tesla Model.
Yeah.
The other, let's say, warning is that batteries might, particularly the Powerwall, it might reignite within 24 hours. So you should pay close attention to that. But I think that's important to note as we go forward and encourage folks through the Solarize program. Just make ourselves aware of it. Talk to the fire department about it, maybe, see if they have been trained insofar as these conditions are concerned.
Fire departments have had a training on the solar at the high school in all the solar sites. We took them personally at each site. However, when we had the explosion of the inverters, they didn't want to touch them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I said, it's all yours. The trucks roll up. The trucks roll up, you're in charge.
You're right.
Now, what would they do in the case of a inverter fire, Sandy, if they're all hands off on this?
There's a disconnect right outside every single one of the schools, so we just hit the disconnect. However, they feel that there's still electric power coming through, which I guess is the case. But that is what the training that we received is. The disconnect is basically the place where we go to shut everything down.
So they would, I'm trying to picture, you've shut it down. There's a probable fire. You've shut down the connection. The fire department arrives. Then what do they do? Call NSTAR?
No,
No,
no, and it depends. I mean, we had the explosion on top of Matakees. So they went up on the roof and they investigated that to make sure there was no fires. But they didn't call Eversource at that time because there was no real fire or anything going on. However, they might have if there was a fire. They didn't even
Okay.
want to hit the disconnect. They didn't want to touch anything. So it was a discussion after, and it was mainly a training situation, nothing to do with what actually had happened. And I believe
Shouldn't,
that they will take care of it going forward.
shouldn't
good.
ABC or whoever the company is that runs them?
They're
be
not,
responsible?
they're in New York or they're not
New
Orange.
Jersey or someplace. Yeah.
Well, the bad part about when this explosion took place is no one called 911. They called Sandy Cashin. And I was on a training with Capo at the,
That might be better.
I was on 6A with bad coverage, coming from the courthouse, and I'm like, why are you calling me? Call the fire department. So I got there before the fire department, but luckily no one was hurt. Those inverters now are being replaced.
Oh, good. Okay, well, some of us have been looking at the Plug Volt seminars. If you're interested in those at all, it's Plug Volt, PLUGVOLT. It's two words, but mushed together for the website.com. And they have a list of webinars and seminars. And they offer them, I guess, like almost once a week during some periods, and then they have a little bit more of a stretch. Most of their webinars on batteries and on battery safety and on all different issues with batteries are free. Occasionally on a very specialized topic, there'll be like a $25 fee or sometimes as high as a $95 fee, but most of those are free. So if any of you are interested, that's a great way to learn more about batteries. And certainly the safety ones so far have been free. They also have some free webinars on electric cars and connection issues. So those might be of interest as we go to push more electric cars. Steve, anything you want to add there?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I see Tara Monroe from the town. Is Amanda here?
I do not see her.
I don't either. Okay, we'll just wave to Tara and we'll skip the town report for now. So organizing for 2021, we're continuing that item on the skills that we need for a future energy vacancy. I think Sandy said that it would be very important to have website and social media skills. And I think other people, I think Barry, you might have mentioned public speaking skills. Is there anything else we want to add to that package?
Joyce, I would suggest someone from the business community.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep, I'm noting that. Okay. And of course, we always think it would be nice to get someone under the age of 65, but we realize that that's a tough sell. If any of you have further thoughts on that, why don't you send them to me? I do want us to look at this in March, so we want to be thinking ahead to that. So we've got business community, website and social media, public speaking. Dan Horgan threw in a thing that it would be great to have someone, a student from the high school, who of course just would have been born with social media and website skills. But this may be a tough year to try to do that with classes not meeting in person daily. So we might have to think of that for a future appointment, but we'll ponder all this one more time in March.
Sandy, can I ask you a question? Are the schools open right now?
Yes.
Okay, because I was out 7 o'clock going for some blood work, and on 6A, I wound up behind a
School bus.
school bus. And I wasn't sure it was you or for St. Pius.
No, St. Pius comes from us anyhow. We have to supply busing through the public education
Yeah,
for any of the private schools. But the high school is hybrid. They have 2 days on, Zoom day, and then 2 days for the other team. So they do a hybrid. The middle school's full. Whoever wants to come into school, they're there, and all the elementary schools.
okay.
I remember that we talked about college students too, and paid, and Dan Napick at our last meeting talked about paid internships. So it seems like it's easier when it's on Zoom. They don't have to come to a in-person meeting, but could just be.
A Mass Maritime
Yeah.
student.
Okay. And if we're looking to make them even temporarily an energy committee meeting, they'd have to live in Yarmouth. But to be an intern, no problem. We could take from any geography, I guess, if they were the right skills match.
Wouldn't we figuratively want to kick the tires? Get them down to the parking lot and have a look at him or her, as it were.
As opposed to a Zoom interview.
Yeah.
So we would like kick their head to make sure they had enough technical knowledge.
Yes,
An interesting
exactly.
approach, Bob. Is that how they do it in the State Department?
Yeah, yeah. For 4 years they were doing it that way.
Okay. Well, and maybe if Mike, if you and Steve as engineers, and then Barry, you as somebody who's thought a lot about press campaigns and what we need for those, if you kind of could think about what we'd want in an intern, maybe we would come back to that next time too, because by March we'll be like on the verge of going full on with Solarize. So we should be thinking of that maybe for our next Solarize meeting.
I like that business person idea. Would it be worth asking somebody at the chamber if they had any ideas? Some on the staff at the chamber, if they had any ideas on who might be interested in the business community?
Could do that. You want me to make a quiet inquiry, not even promising that we're going to do an intern, to Mary Vilbin, and also to whoever's head of the placement office at Mass Maritime, and just get some feelers about what might be available before next meeting?
Yeah.
Let's see, and Joyce,
Uh-huh.
Joyce, they also have the, I believe it's called the First Fridays. The business community discusses various subjects.
Oh, that with the Cape Cod Technology Council First Fridays. Yes, yeah.
Mhm. They might.
Make an announcement there.
Oh, that's a good thought. Yeah, okay. So that would be Bert that we'd get in touch with for that. Um, it would be necessary probably to draft an announcement. Um, I'll draft one and circulate it. Remember though that we can't all discuss it as a group separate from an open meeting, but you can make edits on it and send to me individually, and I'll get on a possible announcement for that. Barry, I know you know Bert also, and you may know him better than I do. So um, you can kind of ponder whether you want to be involved in that also.
It feels like we're conflating two different thoughts.
With business
I
and
think
tech.
you're talking, well, so the notion of somebody from the business community being added as a member of the energy committee was one thought for that makes sense to talk to the Chamber of Commerce and the Technology Council for potential
Interns.
candidates. No, but
sorry.
I think this is that was a separate thought from the possibility of interns.
Okay.
And I just think they got confused in the conversation that the Chamber of Commerce and Technology Council were potential sources of ideas for energy committee members from the business
I'm
community.
sorry.
Business community.
And the intern conversation was a different train of thought.
Oh, thank you. I got that totally wrong. And I was thinking we were asking the tech people, if they knew any young unemployed tech people.
Right.
Sorry, my bad.
No, that's.
Yeah, I remember it altogether different than Barry did as well. So we were looking at a variety of, we were brainstorming and how to get the kind of person who would have the things on our list, and young people would be one idea, people would be another. But so last month, at any rate, they were all the same topic of an energy committee member. But whatever you want to do this month is maybe a different thing.
Mm. And of course, seeing Susan's face and having read a letter by her in this morning's Cape Cod Times reminds me we should have somebody with good writing skills, because when Susan retires to spend all her time with energy issues among the faith community, we're going to be losing one of our best writers. I can't guilt her into staying, but I can drop occasional guilts.
Yeah.
Okay, so any more thoughts on new EC member items or intern items there? Okay, moving on, the EC annual operating plan, and we'll turn it over to Mike.
Okay. I'm happy to say that with regard to electric vehicles, I did finally get a database from the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles containing the number of vehicles registered in Yarmouth of following two types: electric, all electric. They have a list of 31, and what they call electric and gas hybrid, 219. So that's a total of 215, which puts us 25% towards our goal of 1,000 by 2025. Now, unfortunately, the lady that I send emails back and forth to there, she passed the request on to somebody in the IT department, and it's like she's trying to protect them because she won't let me talk to them to clarify their methodology or anything. Matter of fact, I can't talk to anybody. I can just send cryptic emails back and forth. But what I tried to do was determine whether at least the vehicles that are owned by our energy committee members were indeed on the list, and Joyce's was there. Barry's, the car is there, but it's in a different garage address, I think, Yarmouth Port instead of what, Yarmouth or whatever your address is, Barry. Bob, I asked for your info, but you haven't replied to me with it.
Oh, sorry, I found it there.
Yeah,
I
you
just
found
didn't
it.
send you the info.
Yeah, would you send me the info? Go ahead.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Steve, did I detect today's meeting that you have a vehicle?
Yes, we do, a Prius.
Um,
I do
well,
too.
I'll take a minute. Is it a all electric or
No, it's a hybrid.
hybrid? What year is it?
It's actually, it's 2011.
2011. I'm just gonna check my database here real quick. 2011
Yeah,
Toyota Prius. Do you know the model? Is there a number? Because they have numbers on the model.
yeah, they have numbers on the right-hand side. I don't know. I don't know what model it is.
All right, where do you live? Do you live in Yarmouth, West
Yarmouth
Yarmouth,
Port.
Yarmouth? I'm sorry,
Yarmouth Port,
Yarmouth Port.
yes.
All right, well, 2011 Prius. West Yarmouth. Yeah, there is one there. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple there, several. So potentially it's there. I wish I had something else that I could make a one-to-one comparison, like the VIN number of the license plate or something, but I doubt that I'll be able to get that from them. Anyway, I did send the database of 250 to Ed Centio, who was happy to receive it and said he was going to share it with the teams that are working on charging stations and also green communities.
And Susan, her hybrid, I think, is also a Prius, right? Also in Yarmouth Port.
Oh,
So you might want to be able to find two.
you have one also, Sue. Steve and Susan, could you send me the year, make, model, and where your garaged address, whether it's Yarmouth Port,
Yeah.
Yarmouth, West Yarmouth, whatever. And I'll because I did check one other couple that I know here. They each have one. The cars were listed there, but once again, it looked like the garaging address was wrong.
Mhm.
The interesting thing was that the cryptic message I got back from this Phyllis at the RMV, when I asked if I could talk to somebody about the methodology used, she just sent one back and said that comes from the NADA, National Association,
Automobile Dealer Association.
Automotive Dealers Association, the automotive dealers. Yeah, and it said some web service, so it looked like maybe there's some web service that the RMV used to try to collect that data, presumably statewide. And although they may have gotten most of it correct, I don't know if they got the garage.
So that
address
thousand,
right.
so that 1,000 vehicles is, well, for EVs, it's a stretch, I guess. If you combine the EVs with the
hybrids.
hybrids, it seems fairly easily attainable.
Well, I'm sure that I forget what the statewide number was. Was it 100,000 something? But they're going to have to take credit for hybrids if they want to show that. Of course, what the politicians usually do is they change the target as they go along. After the arrow shot, then they draw the target around it. Okay.
I got an email from a friend who, she and her husband have a house in West Dennis and a place in Naples. And she sent a link to the local paper, and the headline on it said, "Hold on to your old car for a year or two and then buy an EV." And it was all about how they're, less expensive and low maintenance. And I thought that was kind of unusual for Naples to put that as the headline.
Huh.
I,
Okay. that's the all electric, right? The hybrid, I guess could have double problems. You could have battery problems and as well as gasoline engine problems.
Exactly.
I was just going to mention, Mike, your persistence in getting this data is much appreciated. And so thank you.
I mean, I want to second that, and because I had asked sort of everybody working on these transportation issues, from the Green Energy Consumers Alliance, the Clean Energy Center, the Cape Cod Commission, they all said that there was nobody had the data. And and I'm serious. I think it's, when you're ready, I think it's important to share the news that the registry is capable of generating that data if they get a request with the commission, with the Clean Energy Center, with the Green Energy Consumers Alliance, because it's an important breakthrough.
I've been reluctant to do that so far because I don't know exactly how they got the data.
And they like to keep
So,
that to themselves.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Some fellow with a green visor going page by page through the registration certificates.
But the thing is, you look at your own registration that you get every year when you have to re-register. It doesn't say what kind of fuel type it is.
Yeah.
But if you go on the Register of Motor Vehicle website, the form that they show for registration has a number of different boxes for you to check off depending on what the fuel type is: gas, diesel, propane, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, all electric. So I don't know. It seems very strange. Anyway, that's all I wanted to have to say, unless Joyce, Steve, or Barry have anything to say with regard to the annual operating plan.
I'd like to say that I think the main streets with the compact visiting and doing energy audits in commercial areas will be a big opportunity if we want to seize it to do a lot of connecting between Energy Committee and town businesses, and that would help us, I think, in a lot of ways. And town businesses and the commercial sector on the Cape generally have never fulfilled anywhere near the percentage of energy efficiency fund spending planned for them each 3-year period. They're real underachievers. So this might be a chance to get a lot of energy knowledge out there to the business community. And also, while it's Main Street, some freebies that usually would cost them something. Anybody else want to add anything about tasks related to the annual operating plan before we go to Susan?
I just say it's not surprising that nobody would have anything to add because we're sort of tied a lot of that onto the Solarize. Certainly the outreach aspects of that plan will fall into place once we start doing Solarize outreach.
Okay, and Susan had an idea that I think will be very useful to all of us, that gives us an idea how to measure energy and how to think about energy going forward. I'll let Susan explain it.
I wish I knew what we were talking about, Joyce. Can you, because I was thinking maybe it was the podcast from the commission. Is that what you're talking about?
The whole sustainability link that you sent?
The one that I was looking at recently today had an Excel spreadsheet of the aspirations from this climate abatement program, whatever it was called, and they had measures for, whether you might be able to fix something or whether you move move away, just move the, whatever is at risk away from the shorelines so that it could not be impacted by increased sea levels.
But what the agenda refers to is an introduction to the climate resiliency data sheet with Susan's name attached.
This is a proof of that I'm overtaxed. I completely lost whatever that was. So I'm so sorry. But I can't, so if I find it again, I'll resend it. What I did just put in the chat though is a really great podcast to listen to by the Cape Cod Commission that talks a lot about energy, and it could be really good to listen to it before Solarize and things like that. For example, Rep Fernandez talks about hardly any town going with Cape Light Compact, and I wondered if that's actually true. If Joyce or Steve or any of you know, have most of the towns opted out?
It's not a question exactly of most of the towns opting out to do the kind of aggregation that the Cape Light Compact is doing and keep prices low for people. They operate on an every 6-month chance to change the price. And for towns with municipal planning, unless they have lots of excess cash, and all 6 towns on the vineyard and all 15 on the Cape decided that was not their situation. They have to have multi-year contracts. So what the Cape Light Compact does for the municipal governments is arrange a sort of meet and greet auction at which the Cape Light Compact power supply people advise the towns, as different creators of electricity make their pitch to try to sort out what's the best multi-year contract for the town. But the compact can't be running 2 sets of power contracts on different timetables.
Insofar as CVEC is concerned, the contracts that we sign under the various tranches, well, we've had different tranches of PV installations. They're 20-year contracts, and there's a fixed price over the 20 years. And it's competitive, and it takes into account a variety of, let's say, grants that are available from the state and other sources.
Now, CVEC has more long-term items than power supply. I believe that the power supply contracts are 2 years. They might now be 3 years, but I think that they're 2 years, and it's the same for all the towns.
It's with Cape Light Compact still.
It's with this gets complicated. At the moment, they're with the same entity that the Cape Light Compact gets its power from, but with a different set of stipulations. But it has to be a whole separate thing with an RFP from the towns, with the town administrators and Maggie and the power supply guy to set that up. So it's considered, it's totally different because of the length. It's also totally different because it's less confidential than the power supply for personal residences and businesses. But it's not that they've walked away from the compact. The compact is the one that arranges their whole obtaining of power.
Yeah, can I throw something in here from my point of view as a helper of customers with their personal energy bills? What I found is, and just keeping an eye on the mailings that I get, is that you get many more of them because the winter price is generally higher than the summer price. You get many more mailings and solicitations from other suppliers than the Cape Light Compact supplier at that time of year. And I think that, at least for residential customers, that may be one of the times when people look at it and see, oh, this is going to be a better price. I mean, I got a solicitation in the mail yesterday offering me 10 cents a kilowatt hour for 3 years. You're not going to beat that, I don't think, in many places right now on the Cape. I mean, for many other companies.
What were the conditions like in that? Did you have to use a certain amount of electricity?
I just saw that the price and threw the thing in the trash. I must admit I didn't go any further than that.
We're getting a lot of solicitations here, some coming in my name, some coming in Phil's name. So the electric bill is in Phil's name. So I don't know from what list they would be getting the name Joyce Flynn, but from Clean Choice Energy, that they would like to take over all things about your electricity, and they would like to offer essentially the kind of stuff that one can get through the state utilities. Well, they would like to offer that, but they also clearly want to get you as an electric customer,
Yes,
like in the long
exactly.
term. But I'm amazed how much they're spending on mailings. I get the occasional email that's from one nonprofit organization or another that's sending along Clean Choice, but usually it comes in the mail, and it's an astounding amount that they send, especially when you consider that half of the ones we get aren't even addressed to somebody who has an electric account.
I've got Clean Choice Energy in front of me for 12 cents, 12 cents. And, like it's just Eversource related. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they try to make it look like they're from an official local utility, but yes.
Joyce,
Uh-huh.
I got a question. In the past, in the recent past, Cape Light Compact has offered a savings if you have a thermostat which can be reset when the peak power demand happens. Okay, you can get through the compact these like Nest or some of the other different thermostats that can be remotely controlled. What they do is they, for example, during a summer month where air conditioning use is high, they will reset your thermostat. If you have it at 72, for a period of time, they'll reset it to 70. The compact will reset it to 74. They'll dynamically control your thermostat, and they'll save you, some money as a result of that. And I believe the savings is year round as opposed to whenever those events take place.
Yeah, they're paying sort of proactively to plan on getting peak energy supply from conservation, from customers who sign up for the device Steve was just talking about, a smart thermostat. So that way they don't have to pay the top rate and throw a fossil fuel facility back into business for a day to get the top rates for energy. You can inquire about that through Brianna Kane, if anybody here is interested. It's been a little bit of a tug of war with the compact and with Eversource, but I think that's mainly solved now. The compact this fall was negotiating something with Eversource for Department of Utilities, Public Utilities proceeding that had gone on for years and years. And it sort of looked like Department of Utilities just wasn't going to get around to having that particular proceeding. So that I guess that motivated Eversource and the compact to get together. But Eversource's original position was that for safety reasons, and because they didn't know where this electricity was coming from, either if it was coming from customers' solar or if it was coming from smart meters where the customers were drastically reducing their energy because of a pre-peak time had been declared. Eversource is claiming that was a danger to their equipment, but I believe that that's now not an issue, and the compact's going to be able to go forward and plan pretty interactively for people who are interested in that. For people who have piles of grandchildren coming in August, that might not work so well, because apparently it's the late summer afternoon, especially in August. That's the worst time. Everyone goes back to their motels, flips on the air conditioning. Everybody has, lights on, or maybe they have heating for showers. Restaurants, even the ones that just opened for dinner, are opening. So you'd want to think about it and what your needs were before you signed up for it, because it'd take some bureaucratic undoing to unsign up for it.
Just as a point of reference, I signed up for 3 smart thermostats with the efficiency audit program back in probably August. And I need an electrician to put those in because they require 3 wires instead of the 2 wires that I have to my old round thermostats. So they said they would be around in October and November to install them. I haven't heard a word from them since it's February now. So.
Wow. Who is your contact person on that?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody
from Rise?
Somebody called me from, I don't know if he was from Rise. He might have been from Rise. I mean, I talked to him on the phone. I ordered a whole lot of other stuff, and everything came, including the 3 smart thermostats, but they haven't been around to install them. I told them, they'll charge, I think, $50 each for the installation of those. They give them to you free. They'll charge $50 to install it. But I mean, it takes an electrician to do it. So
I'm trying to think who that could be. Doug Jones, David Burke, or Stephen Burke. Does that sound familiar?
It's been a long time, Joyce. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, if you shoot me an email with your electric account number, which you should not give on television, I'll pass that on to the compact energy efficiency people and ask them to look up what's happening with whoever the vendor is.
It might be because they can't get electricians, because electricians are so overwhelmed right now with work.
Yeah, I've been trying to get an electrician for months.
My son's an electrician and I still can't get one. I'm still waiting for my service to be finished. So.
Okay. Well, so the smart thermostats, apparently, it's not so easy to get them up and running. We will be aware of that. But Mike, seriously, if you shoot me your electric account number, I'll get on that. Okay. Anything else on the annual operating plan? Nope. We're continuing to operate. We're good. Okay. Then let's move on to Yarmouth Solarize Plus then. Preparation and the website and the update from our senior solar coach.
And before you do that, Mike, can I just say that Amanda did send an email to both of us with an update before the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm not looking at it. Maybe you
This
can
is
have
for
something to
Joyce.
say.
No, I got it too. I figured I'd read that after we're through the actual items here, since we'd gone over that part of the agenda.
All right.
Thanks,
thank you,
Sandy.
Sorry.
Okay, big day tomorrow. The applicant proposals are due to CEC, Clean Energy Center, tomorrow, February 3rd. The RFP was sent to the following stakeholders on the CEC's list. Everybody that was a solar PV, everybody in clean heating and cooling, everybody in vendor solicitations. That went to about 5,000 email addresses.
Wow.
And these lists do tend to have all installers that have participated with CEC in the past in Solarize, Heat Smart, rebate programs, etc. In addition, I forwarded the RFP directly to 5 local installers, 4 of whom were advertisers in that crude play program, that being Katuitt Solar, Solar Rising, My Generation Energy, E2 Solar, and then the one that was the installer on the Solarized Mass program out at Cape Energize. That was ACE Solar, ACE Solar, which I don't know. I think somebody has said that there may have been some problems since they had their installations. Anyway, we'll get a certain, assuming that they update, we'll get an up. Assuming ACE has submitted a proposal, we'll get an update from the folks out at Cape as to how things have been going there. There's a virtual meeting with CEC on Thursday then to discuss the proposals and the next steps. Hopefully we've got some of the 5 that I sent to. I heard back from 2 of them, I think, that said they had gotten the RFP and they were planning to submit proposals. So hopefully we'll get at least one and we'll be able to proceed. The proposal reviewers are the town rep and myself. I guess the town rep is going to be the acting town administrator, right, Joyce?
Yes, temporarily, that person will be the municipal rep, according to Dan Nepic.
Okay, so I don't know how much you'll actually be reviewing each and every proposal, but anyway, I will be reviewing all proposals, and then I've set up a group of 3 to do PV proposals and then ASHP proposals. PV, I've got Barry, Sandra, and Sheila. ASHPs, I got Bob, Joyce, and Chris. Steve, I know way back when you had offered to be a reviewer of proposals, but I don't know if you're up to it and want to take on that responsibility now or not.
I guess you can, at the next meeting, I can listen, and if I can add anything to the what's being said. If I see the proposals, I'll look them over, just to become familiar with them.
Okay, so you
But the formal
think you'll
reviews, just send me the proposals and or CC me on them, and I'll look at them.
You think you'll be able to sit in then on Wednesdays and Thursdays Zoom meetings?
Yeah, I know I have something Thursday morning. What time is the meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Thursday, not Wednesday. Wednesday, the proposals come into CEC and we have our meeting.
Yeah,
I think 10 o'clock Thursday morning.
10 o'clock. Yeah. I have something in the morning, and 10 o'clock is right in that middle of that.
All right. Okay, well, at any rate, when we come out of that meeting, people will be reviewing those proposals. And if there are score sheets that they say can be found on the CEC's Google Drive. And Cadmus will want us to have reviewed the proposals and the score sheets and to review those on Tuesday, February 16th. So that gives us a little less than 2 weeks to review the proposals, fill out the score sheets, and be prepared to talk about them with Cadmus on Tuesday, February 16th. I did send out a schedule that I had put together for everybody that shows us reviewing proposals from February 5th through the 15th, actually completing and uploading the score sheets from the 12th of February through the 15th, so that, you know, you may review a proposal or two and then do the score sheets. Also, I might just add, everybody should review these proposals independently. Once we get sit down with the score sheets, then we can start exchanging ideas.
You mean I can't call Steve for some advice?
No, this is like a take-home exam, no cheating allowed.
We're on the honor system, huh?
Right. Okay, so assuming we have that successful meeting with Cadmus on the 16th, then I've got 3 days to select installers for interviews. 17th, 18th, and 19th, we would actually select those installers that we want to interview. Then we would be preparing for those installer interviews with our questions that were particular to their individual proposals. That's a 4-day period from February 18th to the 21st. Then the actual interviews are scheduled 2 days on the 22nd and 23rd of February, 1 day for PVs, 1 day for ASHPs. 2 days after the interviews are completed on the 24th and 25th, we would evaluate and compare the finalists and come up with this, select the actual installers on February 26th. We would have a kickoff call on the 27th. That would be with the installers, with CEC, the town of Yarmouth, and all our volunteers, and leading to a kickoff meeting to meet the installers on March 2nd. That may be an ambitious schedule, and we'll go over that schedule with CEC on Thursday to see what they think about it. Anyway, it's something for us to work towards and respond to. So that's all I had. And Sandra, if you want to say something about the website and the email updates.
Okay, I finally had my training with Angela. She gave me some good advice on the website and the email. I have called the IT consultants in reference to the email, and we cannot get into the server for the town. So since we are not town employees, even though we are municipal specialized employees,
Special municipal employees, yep.
we still cannot get in there. And I knew when I was working on the senior center project that that was the case for certain things. So we can do our own domain, or we can continue to use what we have set up as our distribution list. Because I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, anything that we're doing and any emails that go out are affiliated with the town of Yarmouth, correct?
Mhm.
So
Well,
they,
in that way that we are as special municipal employees, you know, loosely attached.
so we are considered public documents. Anybody can get a public document record, and they'd have to. So right now, the way the distribution list works is that 3 of us get those emails, and then 1 of us will reply. However, whoever replies to that email, it goes off of your personal email. So if a public document is requested, that means your personal email is going to be subpoenaed. So we need to think about how we want to do that. Or do you want to set up a different email so that that email is separate from your personal email, we can do that, but we can talk about that offline. That's not important.
Mm.
The website, I will be leaving for snowmobiling this Thursday, and I'll be back next Wednesday. I will try to make it on the Solarize Plus meeting. And I will be working on the website, getting that updated as we suggested. Angela was not in support of the 3 control buttons that you wanted, Mike. Reason being is when we go out and where Google searches us, those 3 buttons limit what you want. So we can put it on that page and make a link at the top that would bring us to the about the products or whatever, but I'll work on some of that and see what you feel, and then you can do it. But you want to make it so that when someone does a search for Solarize or solar, that they come directly to our site in the Google search. And whatever you have on your website is an important piece of that search bot that goes through. So I will work on that. You can look at it and critique it, and then we'll go from there.
Sandy, thanks for the work you've been putting in. I mean, what we have as our website is beautiful. I mean,
It needs a lot. It needs some stuff. And this is nothing to do with Angela either. The website that the town of Yarmouth has is a very clunky and older type website.
To
That's
say the least.
that's what Angela has been trying. What the town paid for and what they got are not, but because there hasn't been anyone in their IT department, and Angela is only a consultant. So that was the reason. She not only works for Yarmouth, she works at many municipalities. Her knowledge as far as municipal and websiting and all her other stuff is great, but it's very difficult to get her to commit to come in and help. She was only supposed to have 1 hour with me yesterday. She spent 2 hours and we went through everything. She showed me what she did, got me in, trained me. She did set up the contact form so that we can have that, so we won't have a lot of spam emails. So I think we're on the road, but we might need to discuss how we want to deal with how the website is set up, Mike. It's not the way you really want, and how we want to do the email.
Okay.
Any questions?
just a big thank you for all the time you've put in, including all the correspondence with Angela to finally get the 2 hours.
She was very apologetic, as she always is, but this isn't her only gig, and this was kind of a volunteer thing. So though she was not responsive to us, she was doing that as a favor to Dan.
Oh, see, now
Okay.
Dan's gone away. What are we going to do?
Yes.
Oh,
Now we're going to have to train all new people, plus the fact that they have an IT specialist, I think, that is coming up for the town. So the town has got many balls up in the air to take care of many things. And Angela was trying to get it to come in because the way that the town website was set up was not to the town's benefit. And so she's trying to fix it behind the scene.
You're being very diplomatic, Sandy.
This is being recorded.
you noticed how circumspect we've become.
I'm always considered the aggressive one. I'm trying to be calm, cool, and collective. I have my diffuser here. No
Moving
drink, but a
on to
diffuser.
The senior center update, but before you get started, are we going to be changing the email address so that Bob and Zach already gone out in some of the senior center
Yeah, well,
newsletters?
Lisa's got a call into or an email into me. She's champing at the bit to get the March, April newsletter to bed, and I've been putting it off until, I found out exactly what was going to be changed. Besides, I mean, I've got the telephone number now, but is the email going to be changed?
You know, we probably need to discuss that with the Solarize group, but as a temporary thing, Sandy and Mike, you're the other people most affected by this. I'm willing to have it stay the same, temporary or permanently, and just respond to things from my home email, because I'm kind of used to doing that from the compact. We now all have compact emails, but for all those years I was chair, I was circumspectly answering the compact correspondence from my own email. And I wouldn't find that too much to do. So if, given that we don't at this moment have an alternative, why don't we at least let Bob use the email that we set up before? And then if we change it for future editions of the Council on Aging newsletter and for other things, we can, but at least we'll have some way for them to get in touch.
Well, the thing is that means for a public document that your email would be subpoenaed. I'm not sure if Mike and my email would be subpoenaed. Because
I'm cool with that. I've had document requests on my email before from the compact,
I just have
hostile
to,
ones.
I just have to be careful because my document, that listserv is not my personal email, it's my school email, I believe.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just,
So I have to be careful on how that is set up because my emails at school are public anyhow. So no matter what I say on there, it's a public document.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I want, after doing the conflict of interest, webinar this morning, can I actually work on this project with my email type of thing? I don't know if that's a problem.
it is really easy to set up a
A new domain.
email address for Solarize Yarmouth that whoever needs it can have the credentials for, and you can put it, I mean, on my desktop, I've got, an email for the Yarmouth Climate Action Network, for the Cape Cod Climate Action Network, for like 3 or 4 different aliases that, and when I'm sending an email that relates to Cape Cod Climate Action, I click that address and it comes from me, from my computer, but as the Cape Cod Climate Action Network or the Yarmouth Climate Action Network, it is easy, it's free. It seems to me there's no reason that we shouldn't just do that so that
Well, the problem,
more than one person can use the same address. And Solarize is not itself a town program. It's this kind of quasi-private
Indeed.
collaboration
It's a community program, as we
run by a
call it.
volunteer team.
then that answers the question. It doesn't have to be public document, so it doesn't have to go through Yarmouth. But I had already said that we could go to GoDaddy and get our own, and it's, we could have done our own website, we could have done all that, but we were trying to go through the town. So that's where I didn't know whether it was going to be a town project where we had to have, as Angela explained, our emails would have to be public documents. If it does not, then we can set up our own and get that changed right away. And then we can have solarize-yarmouth.org and everybody would have access, not everybody, the 3 who wanted it or whoever was going to take care of the emails could have the inbox name and your password. You can put it on your phone and it would be there to answer. So we can do this offline and not take up all the time of the Energy Committee, but it is easy and Barry is correct.
Just last point though, isn't there
Okay.
a contract between the town of Yarmouth and CEC? They needed that so that they could send the monies to the town and the town could accept them.
Yes, I mean, our marketing budget runs through the town, but we can confirm this with Lisa on Thursday, but I'm pretty sure the way Solarize is operated in a lot of communities, it does not use the town's own website or email to
Yeah,
operate.
but the Allaire Memorial Scholarship runs through the school system. I mean, the donations go to DY, but it doesn't. DY doesn't have anything to do with it other than the fact that the student selected
Has to
is
be a DY student.
Yes, that's the only connection. But
Now,
I mean,
Okay.
Bob, do you see any difference between giving the district money and just using their system?
yeah.
All right.
Well, but that would be like saying every student is a school district employee, as it were, or whatever. Obviously, there are a lot of gray areas here that people spend thousands of dollars a year to go to law school to be able to interpret, but
We just need to make sure, I mean, we're on the town website, that's all right. We can still have our distribution center with the new email address so that the town gets it. So that won't include your email.
And it could
So
just
if we can
forward to
just
the
have
new one.
that as the new list and still have our own name. And then the emails go there so that will be in the listserv up there. And the email will go off of solarize-yarmouth+.org, whatever we name it. So it can be done, and it is somewhat easy, but we need to make a decision before, because banners, stationery, everything is being set up right now. So we have to make a decision in the next couple of weeks. And I leave for vacation tomorrow night for a week, and then I'm back for a week and a couple of days, and then I'm gone for 2 weeks.
getting rid of all that annual leave, huh?
Yes, I have a lot of backup from last year's COVID.
So it will be determined in the week that you're back then, Sandra. That
Okay.
will have to be determined then.
And if push comes to shove, Barry knows how to do it. So in my absence, feel free to use Barry if Barry's okay with that. And he can go ahead and do it. The one thing, Barry, is just make sure that whatever email we get, that it gets with Mary Alice on the listserv that we have set up for the email that we have right now.
Okay, to be continued. Now, I might just insert here before we go to our next item, the update that Amanda sent Sandy and myself on town energy. They've apparently had an issue at town hall from a grounding problem from the PV system, and they're going to have to get a new inverter to solve that, to get the PV system back up and running. Although, and Steve, you want to listen carefully here, although this location is considered part of round 6 with CVEC, the town wants to get the system evaluated so it may be reused at another location if viable. So that sounds to me like they'd think of putting new CVEC panels on town hall and maybe put these older ones elsewhere, but they want to have a knowledge of all their options before they spend for a new inverter. I could be projecting on that.
Okay,
So that's our update from Amanda, and I'm sure, Steve, you'll be hearing more of that through CVEC, I think, but I'll also forward this email to you so you'll have
sure.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have update on Yarmouth Climate Action Network and the Cape Cod Climate Network's petitioned town meeting articles and a possible vote to endorse the articles. Barry?
Well, I don't think I have anything new to share about them. I gather that the select board was advised that these are on the warrant, and so presumably they were, signatures were certified. Joyce, do you know if that's the case?
I've seen a miniature version of the warrant in which I could see sort of the topic of each one, but I haven't seen the wording of each one. But it seemed like there were 3, and then there was also the additional one by Tom Barron, and then there was also the plastic bottle ban. So 5 citizen offered town meeting articles.
And I mean, I think we should probably recirculate them to the committee and have a real discussion maybe next month in March. But I'd like to suggest that we also talk about the Tom Barron article, the article proposing a study of a solar farm on the links course, because it seems to me that has important potential benefit in terms of the regional goals. The Cape Cod Commission is in the midst of coming up with its proposals for how solar farms, utility scale solar, should be sited on the Cape, but I suspect that their criteria will wind up fitting the links course. And candidly, I think Tom is not either disposed or good at figuring out a strategy to win approval of that study. In that, to make that happen, somebody, and I propose it should be the Energy Committee, should work with the Golf Committee on coming up with a amendment to the article that makes this golfer friendly. And that's not rocket science. It just means sort of that the study includes figuring out how a portion of the financial benefits can be shared with the golf enterprise, and trying to persuade the Golf Committee that it's actually a good strategy.
Years
But
ago.
nobody, if we don't do it, the proposal is going to meet a storm of opposition from the golfer world that is just not, that's avoidable, I think.
Yeah.
And it's right ahead of our energy articles, so it will create a negative environment for ours to be presented. Okay, food for thought. Let's see. Members' comments and proposed agenda items, and we will be putting down, Barry, that note for the March agenda to get a position going on that from Energy Committee. Anybody have any items or comments or proposed agenda items at this time? Okay, as an individual member, I have one thought. I would like Energy Committee to write a welcome letter to the incoming new town administrator, Robert Freudenauer. Do you want to delegate me to do that? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yes.
Okay, figure I'll do that then, and I'll copy you all on it.
Do we have to make a motion?
I don't think it's that formal, but I just, if even one person didn't want us to do it, I would not do it. But it sounds like there is no such person.
I think it's a great idea because it actually, and we introduce ourselves to him, just like I was with the selectmen, having everybody understand who we are and what we do. This is an open opportunity for us to get out there and be known first.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And it worked so well when we did the special welcome for Dan.
Yep, squeaky wheel gets the oil. No pizza though.
Okay, do we have anything else we need to add?
Yeah, Barry, I was wondering, in terms of the links golf course, would it be beneficial to invite Tom Barron or one of the other members of the golf committee to participate in our next meeting.
I'll be honest. So back in the ancient times when people still had coffee together, so pre-pandemic, I went to have breakfast with Tom, both to understand, what was in his proposal and to ultimately kind of beg him to be, to strategize some, to, think about some kind of campaign to help pass the article. And his position was basically, that's not his affair. He's doing this as an engineer or whatever he is. And he doesn't care whether it passes or not. That's not his job. So it was sobering. And that's the basis for my judgment that he's not gonna make this happen himself. I mean, I'd say if we decide that we do want to take a position on the article as the Energy Committee, we should then talk to him about it. But I think it would probably be hard to have the conversation amongst ourselves straightforwardly with him because he's pretty hostile to the idea of politics.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a huge dossier which has been disconnected, I think, from the committee now, which I assume is in the hands of Steve Krinsman, who worked closely with Jack Howard in the early days, and Steve even paid for a Liz Argo to do a study of setting up a solar farm on the links course. It's a lot of it's foggy in my mind now, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that's already been done that Jack did himself. Of course, he was looking at that point. He was looking beyond beyond the golf course. He was looking at every corner of town land to put up, solar panels. But Steve did go out and pay for the study that Liz did. Is there some way of finding that? Is it necessary for us to have it, have that dossier accessible to us as a committee?
I think that part of the problem with the whole links area is how that land was set up through the state for the grant as a recreational piece of property.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I was on the recreation department when that all came through, that was a significant piece of the legislation or whatever agreement that they did, that we could never change that from recreation. And
Yeah, well,
that is where it stops.
yeah, well, Jack was a selectman at that period, promoting that, and then when he saw, what happened to the fact that it wasn't being used very much, because he was always involved with golf as well, he did a U-turn on that whole thing and was probably the foremost advocate of putting a solar farm there in the last years of his life.
When
It is a hurdle, Sandy, but with the consent of the legislature, it would take a special act of the legislature to permit the town to repurpose that property. And that would probably take approval of DEP on the trade-offs. So that is one of the hurdles, but utility scale solar always runs through a lot of hurdles. That's probably not the hardest. The hardest is probably interconnection with Eversource. But there is going to be an increasing effort regionally to scale up solar on the Cape. And we have one of the sites that actually has potential. So, studying it, which is all this article calls for, refreshing all the information and figuring out whether there are solutions, it seems to me worth the effort.
And remember that Dan had a suggestion about doing that. If we just, it would apparently cut some ice with the legislature if we set aside a lot or pieces of a lot of lots the same size for recreation use as that in the plan to switch it. I know Dan was always more positive on this than Rich was, so I was always kind of pondering.
Joyce, I do remember Dan speaking to us about it. And I think one of the things that he mentioned was it would take about 2 years to work through the up and through the legislative process to get agreement on this. I think one of the things he also said, it was a 2-for-1 exchange, that 2 acres would be required to redesignate for take of 1 acre from the site. Another thing I read the other day, and I don't know if it was in the golf committee report or what, annual report, but I think they said that the links course was a moneymaker. It made a small amount of money.
They're cooking the books to keep that.
Go on.
Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Also, I mean, part of any agreement with the golf committee would presumably have to include that it wouldn't close the course before Bass River reopens after the sewer project.
Yes, very important.
But so that the fact that it would take a couple of years legislatively anyway is not, it fits the appropriate timetable. This is not something that would get done, in the first 6 months. So, but again, all this article does is initiate a study that would breathe some life into the idea and figure out if it can actually happen. Hopefully, at the same time, there'll be growing consensus on the Cape that some of these things ought to get built. So it'll hopefully help with Eversource, but it's it's not a slam dunk. I'm just suggesting it's worth keeping alive.
Two comments. One, I remember when Tom Barron initially proposed it, and it may still be in the warrant. He talked about, I think, $10 million, either over a period of time or on a annual basis. It's kind of hard to think of it on an annual basis. So that, and I believe Ed, and I say Centino, he took a look at it for the town and came up with a number that was probably 1/5 of that number. Okay, so it's a pretty big disparity in terms of what benefit would come to the town. My other comment would be that, however we look at it and study it, I think we need an input from the town lawyer, the town attorney.
Okay. So just a thought, Madam Secretary, if you thought any of that was worth noting for the minutes, that should be appended to the update on YCAN and the petitioned articles, and then the members' comments after that.
Yep.
We bounced back. Okay, well, if we're all set, does anybody have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Barry.
Second.
Any seconds?
Second.
Yeah.
Sandy's got to get packing. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one's opposed. I guess we all get to go have dinner. Lovely to see you all. Take care. And I'll talk to some of you in the meantime. I'll send an email with the PDF of the open meeting law, and Susan will send you the resiliency link. And so we'll all be in touch even before the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.